Let's talk about balanced diet. Okay, so now what is a balanced diet? Let's start with the meaning of a diet. Now, a diet refers to the sum of food that is consumed by an organism. It also refers to the type or range of food that an organism usually eats. A diet, therefore, does not refer to just one meal. It is a set of meals that you take. So that constitutes your diet. So, what then is a balanced diet? A balanced diet is a diet which contains all the essential food nutrients in their appropriate proportions. So, it's very important that all the essential food nutrients are found in the diet and they should be in appropriate or right proportions. So, a balanced diet gives your body the nutrients it needs to function correctly. So, what are the requirements of a balanced diet? So, this is what you need in a balanced diet. First of all, the diet should have all the nutrients in appropriate proportions. Now, these proportions may vary, but not too different from this. The carbohydrates usually should be more because the body needs a lot of energy to carry out its activity. So, usually in books, you may find between 45% to 55%, or sometimes 40%. And then the second nutrient that is needed most is proteins. Proteins help in bodybuilding and repairing of tissues, so about 20% or 25%. And then we also need some amount of vitamins and minerals, but not as much as proteins and carbohydrates. So about 15% of that, and then about 15% of fats and oils. And sometimes in books you may find that vitamins, minerals, fats and oils will be just about 20 to 25%. So this is not to say that we should take a huge chunk of carbohydrates. What it's implying here is that these are the nutrient requirements that we need. Remember that when you take a lot of vegetables and fruits, the vitamins and minerals that are absorbed is actually small as compared to when you take a carbohydrate food like kenke or yam or something like that. Okay, so we can also have this pie chart here. This one is describing how the meal should look like. This is not the nutrients, but actually how the meal should look like. So there's a lot of fruit and vegetables, a lot of carbohydrates, not too much protein, and then few for the minerals and other nutrients. Okay, so all the nutrients should be in their right proportions. And then also there should be adequate water and roughage in the diet, even though we are not going to get nutrients from these two. And also the meals should be palatable. That means they should be tasty and should contain small proportions of salt. For example, sodium chloride. We said earlier that carbohydrate is needed in much larger quantities, but not necessarily too much carbohydrate food. The body needs more carbohydrates, but not too much of the carbohydrate food. It's advisable to take in more fruits and vegetables. And we've talked about calorie earlier on, which is the energy that is obtained from taking food, and is the energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So this is a small assignment that we are going to do. You are going to design a 1-day balanced diet, that should include a breakfast, snack, which is optional, so you may or may not include the snack, a lunch, and then supper. So for each meal, you are to state the meal, the full course of the meal, and if there is a dessert, you can choose to add a dessert or not. And then after that, for each of the items that are in the meal, you have to identify the 5 nutrients, where we can get the 5 nutrients in the meal that you have written. So I have an example here. For example, we can have Hausa cocoa and kose with fried egg and vegetable salad for breakfast. So I prefer not to add any desserts, so that is optional. And then I need to indicate the nutrients. So where do I get carbohydrates? I can get it from the cocoa. I can get proteins from the kose and fried eggs. I can get fats and oils from the oil that is used to fry the kose and egg. I can get some vitamins from the vegetable salad. I can also get minerals from the vegetable salad. So you do the same thing for snack, which is optional, lunch, and then supper. And then you submit it on the Google Classroom. So this is a short assignment for you. You are to design a one-day balanced diet and then indicate the nutrients in the meal. Now, what is an unbalanced diet? Let's take a look at these two pictures. This picture one, this is a meal. I think it's fufu with light soup, and it has a lot of meat on it. I can see some cow meat, goat meat, some sheep. There is catfish, there's tilapia, there is snail, and even pig feet in it. And then we also have this meal, which is a bowl of kenke, a fish. We have some onions and tomatoes, and then some pepper sauce. So when you look at these two meals, you can clearly see that this meal is not balanced because it contains too much protein foods, which the body does not need. The body will not make use of all this protein that is on the food. Okay, so there's too much protein here, therefore this food is unbalanced, even though it contains all the nutrients, but the nutrients are not in their right proportions. But this meal here looks more balanced because we have the nutrients. At least the fish is not too big, and then the nutrients are good. So we can say that this is balanced because it has all the food nutrients in appropriate proportion. So therefore we can define an unbalanced diet as a diet which does not contain all the essential food nutrients in their appropriate proportions. So take note that a diet may contain all the essential food nutrients, but if they are not in their right proportions, the diet is unbalanced.